If you're currently feeling like you have a framework that can transform someone's life, you have a secret sauce that if people just take a second to hear it out, it will be a game changer for their life and business. However, in this season, yes, you have the offer. Yes, you have the thing that will transform people's life, but you're feeling like you're stuck. You're feeling like you're indecisive because when it comes to making move, you don't know what move to make. You don't know where to go. You don't know if you should be working on your landing page. You don't know if you should be working on your sales page. You don't know the messaging to drive people to you. If you're feeling this way, if you're just feeling stuck, you're stalled, I want to talk to you today. Hey, it's your girl Sherry Somerville. Welcome to my channel. So, over the past week, I had the opportunity to speak to some amazing people that view me on Instagram and on YouTube. And I've been talking in the DM with them about their business and helping them get unstuck. And also, I had the opportunity to host my first, and I'm going to say my first masterclass that in 6 months. I haven't had a live masterclass in 6 months. I was so excited. We did a how to build your email list with buyers masterclass, and I'm thinking about bringing it back again. So make a comment below and let me know if that's something you'll be interested in because it was really good. And I had the opportunity to talk to a couple of people on that masterclass, and it was definitely a game changer. I love, and I repeat, I love having high level conversation with people because it gets it for me to get an understanding of how people think, of what they're saying, what their thoughts are telling them. So, whenever you're growing your business and you have a framework or you have something out there, I always teach marketing where you get a chance to have a conversation with people. I am all about automation, but I also like to have that conversation because that conversation helps you to see what's going on in people's mind. Here's why I'm telling you that. When you're growing your business and you're on the other side, you're already on your other side of seven or you're on your other side of six figure, and you're trying to move people to the other side of where you are, what usually happen is you forget. Sometimes you forget the thoughts and the mindset and all the things that that person is saying, so or that they're telling themselves. So what makes you a great marketer, what makes you a great salesperson, is your ability to be able to create marketing strategy that gives you opportunity to talk with other people who are a few steps behind you. So I literally took the time out of all the conversation I had this week and created a list. And I'm going to I already have my handy dandy notes. I'm going to go over some of the conversation that we had on our talk. So these were conversation that came from my email replies. These are conversation that came from DMs. These are conversation that came from my 30-minute strategy session. So I'm going to read some of them to you because chances are if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling stalled, you're going through the same thing. You're at the same level. And I want to share some of the things that I share with them. I want to share that with you. I'm not gonna like say names or anything, but I'm just gonna go dive deep into. I took notes, and I'm gonna make sure that you feel seen, because if they're stuck, I'm sure you're listening to me right now. There's some areas in your business you're stuck as well. So hopefully their questions give you clarity. All right. So one of the ladies that I spoke with, this was a call. She's in the Medicare space, and she's looking to grow the Medicare business. However, one of the thing is she is currently super good. No trucking inside and out. She is so good in the trucking industry. She know the trucking business. So she was kind of torn between. Medicare is new to her, so she was trying to torn between should I go into Medicare or should I be working on helping other women that are in the Medicare? And just can I just say this is just gangster. I love seeing women truck drivers. I love it. Love it. So when we were having the conversation, I want you to know, which one would you think? Do you think she should go into Medicare where she's still learning the ins and outs? Or do you think she should stay in the trucking industry? Let me kind of tell you why we're having this conversation too. Is when you're making a decision, for a long time, the average person would say, hey, it looks like she need to go into the trucking industry because she know more, right? That's where her sweet spot is. She know it inside and out. She knows more. And because she knows more, it's easier for her to market because she know it inside and out. And if you're saying that, I'm gonna say yes. You're totally right. You're you're 90% right. I truly believe that you don't get bored with something, you make money from it. Myron Golden said that to me one time, and those words stick with me. You don't get bored with something, you literally make money from it. So now, when I'm talking to someone who knows their thing inside and out, but they don't no longer really want to do that thing, that's where the stuckness come in. Because even though it's easy to them, they're thinking they want to go into something that's brand new because that new thing is going to make them more money. So for them, it was a trucking going into Medicare, but for you, it may be something else. You may know something inside and out, but it doesn't bring you that joy anymore. So you don't like talking about it because it doesn't bring you joy anymore. So you're like, man, I know this thing. I know this industry. I know it like the back of my hands, but it doesn't bring me joy to want to teach or tell somebody about it. Now, so let's dive deeper into that because I get that a lot because I started off for the last past 2 years, I've grown my business selling one to many using challenges, using the 5 day challenge, even wrote a book all about it. And in the space of doing that, in the space of doing it, I didn't feel the energy or the need of wanting to host a 5 day challenge again. I did not feel the need. That's what took me so long to do my own thing. That's what took me so long to do a live masterclass because I know the prep work that's involved. I know the thing that's involved, and yes, it brings you. It is a very good revenue engine. So, but even though it's revenue engine, here's the thing with our body. Here's how our body's designed. And this is such a beautiful thing. Stay with me right here. Stay with me right here. Stay with me right here. Because what happened to our bodies and our mind and our soul and all the stuff, this is why we know we are not going after money. This is how you know you don't ever have to worry about feeling salesy or greedy or anything, because when you're true passionate about something, you're so passionate about it, even if you're going to make tons of money from it and you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. Let me say it again. You're not going to do it. And that's the beauty about this, right? Even though I know something and is generating so much revenue for me, if I don't enjoy doing it, if I don't enjoy the thing, I am not going to do it, and neither will you. So I learned that your internal force is energy. Your aura is energy. There's no strategy. There's no tactics that can touch that. That's your spiritual being, right? So that's your spiritual being. So when you are feeling like I know this inside and out, but I know that this is not what I want to do. I want to enter into a world that light me up, that bring me joy. Regardless of what a coach is going to tell you, you're going to step into the newness of that other thing, even though the thing that you know inside and out is easier for you to help people get results. It's easier for you to market. So your body have this tug of war between you getting excited about learning something new and telling other people about it, and or the thing that you kind of find boring and the thing that you get tired of talking about, right? So I know that all too well. So how do we bridge the gap? I 100% believe that you should focus, follow one course until successful. I 100% believe that you should pick that one thing that you know so well. But I also, because I've been coaching for years, that indecisiveness that will keep you so stalled and you don't know what to do. So what I tell my clients to do, because I have to wait on God to align you with the one specific thing that you need to do. Let me just kind of take it a little bit further. I have a girlfriend of mine who's amazing, and she's doing super well inside the real estate investment space. However, prior to getting in that space, she was in the decorating event space. And I would tell her, you need to choose one and focus in. You need to choose one. You need to focus. Just pick one and focus. And she was like, no, I love event planning. That is my thing. That is what I love to do. I do not want to, but I also like real. I have a license in real estate. I said, you just need to pick one. It doesn't matter what it is. Just pick one. And let me tell you something. She would not listen to me at all. Well, that's okay. You know, sometimes you have friends that don't listen. But then COVID hit and she was forced to pick one. And guess what? Even though she know the event space very well, even though she know the events things here and out, COVID hit and she had to go to the other thing, which was her real estate. And in the real estate realm. And so she had to dust off her real estate courses and get the dust mops off of those things, the cobwebs off. And she got her license, renew her license, and she started doing real estate. And let me tell you something. She enjoyed it. It brings her joy. She learned more about it every day. She also have her own properties and so on and so forth. I'm telling you this story like this because even though what I would tell her, like, pick one, you need to do this, you need to do that. Even though I'm telling her that life will fix itself. Life will fix itself. Now, so in this situation, one of the things that I told the young lady, I said, hey, I know in my mind, the trucking is what I would do because you know it inside and out. But I also know when I say that to you, your brain is telling you, but it doesn't bring me joy. And people only want to operate at the space of what brings them joy. So here's what I'm going to tell you to do. You know trucking very well. You also have your license in Medicare. So how about we combine both until you can focus in? So how can we create Medicare for people who are in the trucking industry? And that's what we kind of do, right? That's what we did with her. We said, hey, you're going to be part of our program. She said yes to a high level program I said, hey, while we're doing this, we're going to create a low ticket offer for you to be visible. And when we create a low ticket offer for you, we're going to do it in a way where it hits. So you're still operating in your area of genius. You love Medicare, but you're also specializing in the trucking industry. So that's how we're going to niche to that spot. So your message can be clear and hit that person, right? So she didn't have to compromise by one, but I know later on as she get comfortable, she's going to choose one later on. Just like my girlfriend in the event space versus the event space versus the real estate space. So what happened there? What happened in that situation? In that situation is there's a tug of war between your brain, and we don't want to keep you stuck because at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, I get this from people all the time, which moved me right into the second person I was talking to in the DM. At the end of the day, we have a tendency that we do not want to miss out on certain things. We think we don't want our clients, we don't want a prospect to miss out. So we feel like if we choose one, people are going to be missing out. When truth of the matter is that is not the case at all. That is not the case at all, I tell you. But our brain tell us that. So in the next scenario, this is a young lady I spoke to in a DM. She is a phenomenal, great woman. And I just think God just worked things out because I was talking to this other lady. We were having a conversation in my Instagram DM, and we were we were having a conversation about what she does. And in that conversation, she is amazing. She know autism so well. She's in the autism industry. She also she's familiar with people who have autism. Has that experience, and she has an amazing framework that she says that can transform people's life. Now, in this part of where she's stuck is I have the framework, but what good is having the framework if nobody know I have it, right? So there's a structure and that's needed, and there's also there's also buyer ready messaging to attract people to that framework that's needed. So when as we dive deeper in the conversation, where she was, I found to be stuck. Where I where she was where to be stuck in the situation. I believe that her stuck was not about strategy yet. So one of the things that we are doing with her, one of the things that we're doing with her to help her kind of overcome, there are three things I told her. I said, hey, it sounds to me that you need that, but you need to learn that buyer ready messaging. You need structure in your business. But here's the most important thing that I think she also needed, and here's why. Let me go talk about here's why. As we dive deep in the conversation, we kept having conversation about who her target audience is. And because she's in the space of autism, her mindset went to, oh, well, no one is going to be able to afford my price for my autism framework. I want you to stay with me for a second, because I feel that if you're watching this, you're believing the same thing too. You're believing that the price that you need to price your offer, nobody's going to pay it at that price, even though you know they need the service. So what happened is you shrink your message to people who you believe that can afford your service. But here's the thing, they get your value, but then you're not able, your profit margins are not wide enough to bring on more people where you can hire more people, make more impact in the world, and also have the freedom and flexibility that you say you truly want. So I see this all the time when people enter an industry. I had another lady who was the same exact situation. One of my clients, she was in the doula. She was a midwife in the doula space, and she was telling me the same thing. And I'm going to give you the answer. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to give you the answer of what I told her. So if you're in this space where you're believing that in your thoughts right now, like you have an amazing framework that can help others, but you're just afraid because you're not thinking what the framework is worth, the value of that, and how it can transform people's lives. You're afraid that you're thinking to yourself, no one will pay that. No one will pay that. Now, let me just kind of calm myself down because I'm getting excited. So I want to let you know, price, when it comes to pricing your offer, has nothing to do with the actual price itself. Has nothing to do with the actual price itself. So when you're pricing your offer about the product that you have that can solve someone's problem, that can solve that painkiller problem that's been keeping them up at night, your offer has nothing to do with the price. Because if someone has a headache or a toothache, they don't care what it costs to get rid of that problem. They don't care what it costs to get rid of the problem. So it depends. The question is your problem a painkiller problem? You're like, well, Sherry, I don't think my problem is a painkiller problem. Well, I think autism, if a mom is a caregiver, a mom or whoever, a parent, a family, a husband, whatever, is stressed out and knowing the direction of what they need to go. I have family in my I have people in my family that has autism, and I be around it. I was at church, matter of fact, on Sunday, and when the mom, she could not even listen to the pastor's service or what the pastor was saying because her child just would not stay still for it. And listen, my son has ADHD. He doesn't have autism, but he has ADHD. And baby, I was in that spot. Okay, had to leave restaurants early. Had to go home because I feel like everybody's looking at me, and the shame that brought on me in my head. That's all that was in my head. Okay, so a mother will do anything they can to learn the tools necessary to deal with that situation, right? Anything necessary. Now, when I say a mother, what I told her, this beautiful lady, what I told her is that when you're thinking about who can afford you, you're basing it on what the environment or the mood of who you are. Let me dive deeper. One of the reasons why people feel like, oh, I don't know if I can afford this person price. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. I don't know if someone will pay this for my price. Is more than likely you have not experienced yourself paying that price. Because once you have invested in your own mentorship, you're going to say to yourself, well, I paid it, so there's more people like me out there that's willing to pay it. So let's say that for a second. That's the first step. I hope you're writing this down. Number one, you if you're feeling a hesitation around making decision, and you allow the money to be the reason why you're stuck, I can almost guarantee that is because you yourself may not have experienced that paying for that thing as yet, of what you would like for your price and margins to be. So it's hard for you to ask for something that you yourself has not paid yet. Whoo! Okay. All right. That's the first step. So if you're looking to, people will say increase your price, but yeah, it don't really work that way. I believe that it's okay for me to ask for what my pricing is because I've paid that myself. Why is that? Because there is an experience and a vibration and an energetic force of you paying for something that you are like, I'm not sure how I'm going to pay for this. I'm not sure I can afford this. It's an energetic feeling. So you need to know the experience of what a person feels like paying for that thing every month, or whether it's on payment plan or paying in full. So now you are comfortable and confident in asking for a price because you yourself has paid that before. So I know all the emotions of what the person will go through. Like when someone speak with me and I do an assessment with them, I know based on our conversation, based on the feedback I get, where they are. And I have different offers that fit them, and maybe the highest offer is for them, but because they're working with their money mindset, I don't introduce that because their mind has not developed at that level yet to handle that type of responsibility. They have not been introduced, they have not experienced that yet. So even though it's valuable, they will not see in their repertoire, they will not see how valuable it is. They'll take it for granted. It's kind of like a child who's been raised in abundance, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't have this as a child, and you're giving your child everything, and they're taking it for granted because this is just what is their normal, right? So I don't introduce that space because there is a emotional mental development, there is a business acumen that need to be developed first before I can even enter the realm of having that conversation around that pricing structure. So it's not just always about raising your price. It's about, do you have the feeling and experience of what a person go through when they say yes? Have you said yes to somebody at the same pricing structure that you're pricing your stuff? Because once you do that, then you enter a new door, you unlock a new door in your brain, and you're feeling comfortable asking for that because you've asked for that, right? Now, another thing too is, so now that we've dealt with that, because there's so many people that I've seen that their pricing is too low for what they're trying to offer, and there's not enough profit margin in there, right? Okay. So that's number one. You have to have the same experience in paying something so people can understand, so you can get the same feeling of what a person go through in the conversation. So that's number one. Number two, when it comes to this exact example of, I'm in the space of autism and someone may not pay for that price, in the example I was just telling you, are we the first thing came to my mind is, so all autism parents are broke? No, not at all, right? I have family friends who are high lead CEO exec and their child has autism. Can they not afford you? No. So the question is not the way how the belief shift is, the way how the belief is planted in that person's mind is literally repelling money from them just based on how they're believing. Do you see that? Do you understand that? That's why we stay stuck. And that's why we create the next move to get you unstuck. We have a community just for situations like this. So this is not a strategy. This is not a strategy situation. This is not a tactic situation. This is the internal thoughts of what we tell ourselves is keeping our thoughts are keeping us broke. Your thoughts is keeping you broke. So once we learn how to untangle that and say, hold up, that don't make that what I'm saying don't even make sense. What I'm saying don't even make sense. And then you take on a new belief, a new idea that, hold up. So all wealthy, educated, rich people, whoever they are, they don't have kids that, so now it's time to shift and say, hold up. It's not that they can afford me. I am just not positioned with the right, now we're talking with the right strategy, with the right messaging, with the right structure for them to find me. Got nothing to do with pricing. Is my business positioned? Does it have structure for them to find me? Whoo, big difference, right? So here's what I'm telling you. I did and I wrap up with this really quick. I wrote a email to my email list, and it was talking about how being local was keeping me broke, right? So I was talking about how I did everything. I did the BNI groups. I did our local chamber. I did it all. I did it all. And in the space of the Pacific business I was in as a business coach and sales speaker, I did that, but my local area was just not attaching to what I was doing. So I got to the point where I was tired of collecting business cards. I'll get in my car, grab my heels in one hand, throw my heels back, and all I see sitting on my next to my seat in my car was a whole bunch of business cards. But there was no money, there was no revenue. So therefore, I could not make an impact. I could not contribute to society the way I want to. Right? I could not create the bigger transformation that I want to make. So I said to myself, well, you know what? This is moving slower than I wanted to move. And I feel like I'm just in this box in my local area. So I need to come out to a bigger area. So I started going online and started growing my business, going online, grabbing my iPhone 6, going live, and started creating position myself, creating visibility, creating opportunity for people to find me. I find one platform, and I just dive deeper on that platform over and over and over and over. And when I did that, that grew my business, my word position, who I serve, the people I was called to serve. And in my email I was talking about how I shifted from local to global changed my business. And once I went global, then local people started noticing. Started noticing. So I'm telling you this story because one of the reasons why we think in such sometimes low vibration is because we have not experienced online space where people are messaging you from places you've never even been, where people are messaging you to help them, and you would never be able to reach those people had you stay local, right? So look, that's for a different time for a different day. But the idea here is I'm going back to your thoughts again. So the thought sometimes has to be expanded because until you see that it can be done, you won't believe it. So until I enter rooms where coaches were making $8 million, or I watch someone make $3 million in one day, my thought had to be in this season, because that was in January when it happened. Okay. So in this season, right now we're in 2026 from when you're hearing this. So in this season, my thought was, okay, so the market is not as bad as we're saying. The people are making money out here. There are people there. So I challenge you as I wrap up right now. I want to challenge you that if you're thinking to a spot like who's going to afford it, no sales is made on a weekend, nobody's thinking about sales on Friday. These are all the thoughts I used to have, okay, until I prove every single one of them wrong. Right? I have to post 3 times a day for people to notice me. All of that stuff. I have to take a whole bunch of sales calls for people to say yes to my offer. I have to have a fancy website for people to say yes. When I got in a space where experience like this was happening, and everything that I said, people was making money on a Saturday, people was making sales on a Monday, everything that I say I thought could not happen, it challenged in that space. So it really made me go back and debunk some things I thought and said. And it to the point where I created a space where you have, it's a decision support space where you're not stuck, you're not stalling on questions because you never seen it, because that's what happened when we're talking in low vibration is because we're not in community or in spaces where it's happening, so we don't believe it's possible. So you have to see it. That's why it's important to see inclusivity. That's why it's important for that young black girl to see a woman flying a plane, or that girl seeing a woman driving a truck. It's so important, because had they not see it, they wouldn't believe that they could become it. Had they not see it. When I was in law enforcement, I saw women that looked like me in law enforcement and hold high spaces, and they became my mentor when I was in that space. So I just want to encourage you that if you're going through something and you're feeling stuck, get in rooms. I want to invite you into rooms like our next move community. Well, I want to invite you into rooms where it can debunk all the low vibrating thoughts that you have created in your mind. That's what's not possible. Because one of the thoughts that's going around right now is like, everything is high, people are not making money, the gas prices is up. But even if it is, even if the gas prices is up, even if things are high, the the point here is, your thing that you do, your offer that you provide, is an offer that a person needs right now. So if you go from this space of, hey, this is a pain killer offer, and if it's not, 90% of the times it's because you don't know how to say the messaging, the sales psychology to position that is, which is why next move is there, but or a buyer ready messaging matrix. But the idea here I want to leave you with is, if you ever question about why you're stuck, why you're indecisive, I can guarantee you, because you need to go out more. And I end with this. I was in a room where a young lady was speaking, and she was doing the closing remarks for a conference, to wrap up a conference. And the young lady spoke about a vacation that she had went on with her family. And on that vacation, she were introduced to a man, and that man, he was there on vacation with his family. He was the grandfather of a whole bunch of kids and family and so on. But what unique about the story is the fact that this man had the privilege of paying for his entire family, like that's his gift to them, on a vacation. And that moment of being able to sponsor, pay for people to for your family to come to on a one vacation, all inclusive, paid by grandpa or paid by dad, that's such a profounding thing, right? That's what we aim to do for our own family. When I traveled to Jamaica for our wedding and people was getting their passport for the first time, that's profound, and I'm getting goosebumps telling you the story. But the idea here is, she took that information, explained it on stage, and that push, that we could imagine ourselves having that, for that moment, being able to be a person that says, hey, it's my vacation, I want y'all to come, I want us to bond, I want to create memories with our family. I know it ought to, it may not at his magnitude, but when my mom turned 60 and she's like, she's never been on a cruise, always busy working 3 jobs, and I said, I'm going to take you on a cruise. Now my mom has been on 3-4 cruises, but I was able to bring her first cruise and also retire her. So I know that feeling of what she's saying. So I could relate. So now now I'm like, I want to do it even a higher level, a bigger level. So she took that story and she told us on stage, and that story of her sharing, and everybody want that feeling, right? The feeling of being able to drop that card and say everything is on me. That feeling, right? In this moment. And when she did that, that really made everybody say, whatever I got to do to say yes to this thing to get in, they got in. They said yes, they got in. I spoke right before her and I talk about my situation as well. So they also had another opportunity to see, like they see themselves. One of the lady, when I came off stage, she said, oh my God, she said, your words were the defining factor of me saying yes. Now, I'm saying that to you, I'm having that conversation with you, that had she and had I not stepped out to get these stories, to get these things, had we not been in the room, in the space, we wouldn't have these stories to tell. So that's another part I want you to examine. Like, what room are you in? What spaces are you in? If you're stalling and you're feeling like I'm so indecisive, I'm always second guessing myself, I am not sure, and I'm just being indecisive is exhausting because you're just stuck in the same spot over and over, just spiraling in the same spot. No impact is coming from you, no movement is coming from you. You're just doing the same thing day in and day out because you don't know what's behind the scenes. No one is pulling back the curtains and showing you, because transformation requires a transaction, right? So it's a headache, right? So you don't know why the person's doing the things. One of the great things about in my space that I am happy to always do with my clients, they will see me do something or they see me write something on my ad, they'll see something and they'll be like, hey, they come back to class in our next move and they'll be like, hey, how did you do that? Like, why did you do that? What was the reason behind that? Can you tell me what, so they get to see and know my thought process on why I execute on that spot. And that's the thing. If you're not in that space to hear that, you stay stuck. So you need a space where there's decision and support that is happening, right? So you can know why think we do the things that we do. What type of message get a buyer to say yes to you so you can be seen as the answer and not just the option. Those are the spaces that bring out the brilliance in you, because that create storytelling, that create experience turn into stories turns into cash, right? So I'm going to challenge you right now to get in those rooms. If you're stuck, get in those rooms. I want to invite you to our room. The next move is an amazing space for us. But I hope you're able to see, based on these two stories that I share with you from my notes, that there's no such thing as being stuck. Because not making a decision is making a decision. That's all I got for you today. It's your girl, Sherry Somerville. I hope to see you on my next video. Talk to you soon.